The 1945 UK 1 penny coin holds a remarkable place in numismatic history, not only for its age but for its deep-rooted significance in British coinage. Struck during the final months of World War II, this coin symbolizes a pivotal moment in global history and stands as a testament to a resilient nation during a time of great transformation. The obverse of the 1945 1 penny features the effigy of King George VI. It's crowned and facing left, a familiar image across the empire during his reign. The reverse side displays Britannia, the steadfast female personification of Britain, seated, with her trident and shield, watching over the seas that once defined a global empire. Crafted in bronze, the coin measures 30.8 millimeters in diameter and weighs around 9.4 grams, making it one of the larger copper coins in the UK's pre-decimal series. What makes this coin even more desirable among collectors and historians is not only its striking imagery in wartime context, but also its scarcity and pristine condition. Although millions of these coins were minted, finding a 1945 UK 1 penny in uncirculated or mint state condition is extremely rare. Over time, most circulated coins suffered from wear and oxidation, especially since they were made from bronze, metal that darkens and corrodes with age. Collectors now seek examples that retain their original reddish luster, defined edges, and sharp detailing on both the portrait and Britannia's figure. It is these top-tier examples that command high premiums in the collector market. A high-grade 1945 1 penny certified by professional grading services like PCGs or NGC can reach impressive values, with market prices soaring up to $5,100 or more depending on demand and coin quality. This market value reflects not just the coin's historical and cultural importance, but also its role as a tangible artifact from one of the most defining periods of the 20th century. What adds to the mystique and value of the 1945 1 penny is the broader historical backdrop against which it was minted. 1945 marked the end of World War II, and Britain was a nation both triumphant and weary, navigating post-war recovery. Coins minted during this year carry a certain gravitas, embodying the spirit and endurance of the British people. Many collectors are drawn to this coin because it represents more than currency. It symbolizes legacy, endurance, and the final chapter of a brutal global conflict. As numismatists continue to explore coinage from key historical years, the 1945 penny remains a top target not only for its rarity, but for the story it tells. Whether it's acquired as part of a broader wartime coin collection or appreciated as a standalone piece, this coin offers exceptional value, both financially and historically. Another element that makes the 1945 1 penny especially interesting to numismatists is the fact that it was among the last few issues before the widespread changes in British coinage post-war. This period saw significant shifts in coin materials and minting practices, driven by metal shortages and changing economic needs. Coins like the 1945 penny thus serve as a snapshot of a nation on the cusp of major transformation. They embody the final breath of a certain design language, one that would soon be phased out with the rise of modernized coinage, decimalization, and a streamlined currency system. This transitional importance makes the 1945 penny a collector's gem, an artifact that bridges traditional craftsmanship with modern economics. It's not just its age or design that creates demand, it's what the coin represents on a deeper scale. Further driving up the value of this coin are the auction results that occasionally make headlines. On rare occasions, a pristine example graded as MS65 or higher emerges in auction houses, where competition among bidders becomes intense. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay thousands of dollars, sometimes up to $5,100, for a piece that meets all the key standards: exceptional condition, verified authenticity, and strong eye appeal. Unlike average coins found in circulation, these special specimens have been carefully preserved in controlled environments, making them highly desirable in today's numismatic circles. The premium attached to these high-grade coins is often supported by their documented auction history and the increasing scarcity of top-condition examples available on the open market. The demand for wartime coinage, especially from major global powers like the United Kingdom, continues to grow. The 1945 1 penny fits perfectly into this trend. Collectors appreciate the blend of design, metallurgy, and history. It's a coin that sparks curiosity. Why was it preserved so well? Who originally handled it, and what stories could it tell if it could speak? Its aged surface holds secrets. Its classic Britannia design, a link to an empire whose reach once spanned continents. Collectors often seek coins that combine beauty and backstory. In the 1945 UK 1 penny offers both. Its design is both traditional and emotive. Its year of minting deeply symbolic, and its value reflective of the growing interest in rare, high-grade historical currency. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a new collector with an interest in British coins, the 1945 UK 1 penny offers a captivating opportunity. Reminds us that coins are not just mediums of trade, they are miniature time capsules, enduring through decades or even centuries, with a market value reaching up to $5,100 in today's market for pristine examples. This coin represents a confluence of condition, historical importance, and rarity. The 1945 penny is more than just bronze. It is a legacy molded into metal, echoing the resilience of a nation that endured war and emerged ready to rebuild. As more collectors turn to historic coins for both investment and passion, the 1945 one penny stands tall, a bronze relic of Britain's wartime past and a beacon of collectible value today. Next up, the 1965 UK 1 penny stands as one of the most intriguing pieces in British numismatics. It's not because of any obvious rarity and mintage, but because of the hidden value tied to its condition, design, and the transitional period it represents in British coinage, bearing the regal effigy of Queen Elizabeth II on its obverse and the iconic seated Britannia on its reverse. This bronze coin marks a final chapter in the long and rich history of the pre-decimal penny before the UK's move toward decimalization. In the 1970s, the 1965 issue was the last standard year of circulation for the large penny. And though over 100 million were minted, very few have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. When preserved in such a high state of preservation, this seemingly ordinary coin can fetch astonishing values in today's collector market, reaching up to $4,600 or more, depending on the coin's grade and appeal. The 1965 penny serves as more than just a piece of currency. It encapsulates the end of a coinage era that had spanned centuries, struck in bronze and measuring 30.8 millimeters in diameter. It maintained the traditional large format that had defined British pennies for generations. At the time of its circulation, most people thought of it as just another common coin. But decades later, those that were never circulated, those stored safely in coin sets or preserved by attentive collectors, have become rare gems. These high-grade examples, when evaluated by top-tier grading companies such as NGC or PCGS and awarded grades like MS65 or higher, have become increasingly difficult to find. And because this was the last year this traditional design was minted for general use, it's gained notable interest among numismatists, further pushing its value upward. What makes the 1965 1 penny particularly compelling is its place in a rapidly changing British society. The mid-1960s were a time of modernization, technological innovation, and cultural shifts. The coinage system was not immune to these changes, and plans for decimalization were already being discussed. The 1965 penny, with its long-standing Britannia design, represented the final salute to a traditional aesthetic before new designs in coin sizes would redefine the British currency landscape. As such, this coin resonates with collectors who appreciate the symbolic nature of transitional coins, those that serve as the last of their kind before a redesign or revaluation. These transitions are often short-lived, which makes coins from these periods highly sought after. Furthermore, the coin's classic Britannia design is rich in historical meaning. For centuries, Britannia stood as a proud symbol of the British Empire's strength, naval power, and resilience. On the 1965 penny, she appears seated, facing right, holding a trident in one hand and a shield bearing the Union Jack in the other. The calm poise in her figure contrasts with the dynamic transformations taking place in British society and governance at the time. With Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on the other side, this coin brings together two iconic representations of British identity, one rooted in history and tradition, the other representing a future-facing modern monarchy. This duality makes the 1965 penny not just a monetary artifact, but a story in bronze, linking to eras in a single object. The value of the 1965 UK 1 penny today is not determined merely by its age or metal content, but by a range of factors, including condition, rarity and high grade, eye appeal, and provenance. Coins that show little to no signs of handling sharp edges, original mint luster, clean fields, and full detail are the most coveted among collectors. These characteristics place the coin into higher grading tiers, which in turn raises its market value significantly. Collectors are known to pay between several $100s to over $4,600 for such specimens, especially those accompanied by professional certification. These certified coins not only offer assurance of authenticity, but also protect the coin's surface from future damage, ensuring its value is preserved. What's also fascinating is the way such coins have evolved from common currency into collectible investments. Decades ago, no one would have imagined that a 1965 penny could be worth thousands of dollars. But the limited availability of top-grade examples, combined with the nostalgic and historic allure of the design, has propelled its value. As younger generations take interest in coin collecting, driven by stories, heritage, and the desire to own pieces of history, coins like the 1965 penny become more than collectibles. They become personal treasures. These coins tell stories of the era they came from, spark curiosity about the monarchy, the empire, and the nation's evolution, and offer a tangible connection to a past many have only read about in books. Another layer that makes the 1965 UK penny particularly desirable is its role in completing full sets. Many collectors strive to build comprehensive collections of British pennies from Queen Elizabeth II's early reign. The 1965 issue is essential in such efforts, being the last large-format penny to feature Britannia. Without this coin, such a collection remains incomplete, and this drives up demand for high-quality examples. Some collectors even focus exclusively on final year of issue coins, those struck during the last year. A certain design was produced. In these focused collections, the 1965 penny holds enormous significance, and this specialized demand contributes heavily to its current market value. Moreover, auction houses and rare coin dealers have observed increasing interest in coins from the 1960s, particularly those from the UK. The fact that coins like the 1965 penny are beginning to cross the $4,600 threshold in top condition is a clear indication that numismatic value is not just about ancient artifacts or centuries-old currency. Even relatively modern coins, if preserved correctly and tied to key moments of change, can carry substantial financial and historical weight. This reality opens up new pathways for both novice and seasoned collectors to appreciate the evolving nature of coin value. For anyone holding on to a 1965 UK 1 penny, it's worth taking a close look. If the coin appears to be in exceptionally well-preserved condition, shiny surfaces, no scratches or corrosion, clear details, it may be worthwhile to have it graded by a professional service. The difference in value between a circulated example and an uncirculated graded one can be vast. And with the ever-growing collector base, especially those seeking post-war and pre-decimal coinage, now may be an excellent time to understand the coin's worth, or even consider it a long-term investment. The 1965 UK 1 penny is far from just another coin. It is a historical artifact that marks the end of a coinage tradition stretching back centuries. It carries the weight of British identity, from its stately portrait of the monarch to its enduring Britannia reverse. Only a precious few remain in the kind of mint condition that serious collectors demand. With market values for such pieces reaching up to $4,600, the 1965 penny exemplifies how history, condition, and timing converge to elevate a humble coin into a coveted collectible. As interest in transitional era coins continues to rise, the 1965 penny remains a key figure in the story of British numismatics, one that continues to captivate collectors and historians alike. Next up, the 1967 UK 1 penny holds a distinct and fascinating place in the legacy of British coinage, capturing both the essence of tradition and the final echoes of an era that was rapidly coming to a close. Struck just a few years before the United Kingdom's decimalization, the 1967 penny was never intended for general circulation in that year, rather. It was produced in vast numbers for ceremonial and commemorative use and to meet ongoing demands from overseas territories and institutions. This seemingly small detail adds a unique twist to its story, distinguishing it from earlier issues and adding layers of intrigue to its numismatic appeal. Bearing the right-facing portrait of a youthful Queen Elizabeth II, on the obverse, and the powerful image of Britannia, seated with trident and shield on the reverse. This large bronze coin represents not just money, but heritage, symbolism, and a nation on the verge of currency transformation. Though commonly encountered in circulated form, the true value of the 1967 penny lies in its rarity and superb uncirculated condition. High-grade specimens, especially those with deep red or red-brown luster and no visible handling marks, can command prices as high as $2,200 on the collector market, making this a coin of far greater value than its humble face would suggest. Unlike earlier issues minted as part of standard circulation, the 1967 penny is part of a limited group of coins struck in the final phase of the pre-decimal era, where the Royal Mint continued production despite the upcoming changes to the currency system. Its production reflected both a nod to tradition and an effort to maintain consistency across 8-knit British coinage for as long as possible before the seismic shift that would occur with decimalization in 1971. The sheer volume of 1967 pennies might suggest they are not rare, and indeed many were produced. But time has proven that finding untouched examples coins that have never seen a pocket or purse is remarkably difficult. Over the decades, many coins succumbed to oxidation, wear, and damage, while the pristine examples, often stored away in commemorative sets or forgotten collections, have become increasingly sought after by collectors who recognize the subtle but meaningful differences between grades. As with all collectible coins, condition is king, and a flawless 1967 penny can be worth exponentially more than a circulated one. The design of the coin also plays a significant role in its desirability. Britannia, a fixture on British coinage for centuries, is depicted in a timeless, pose-helmeted, seated, and gazing leftward, with a firm grasp on her trident and shield resting beside her. This figure of strength and stability had long been a representation of Britain's maritime dominance and resilience. The reverse design was last struck for regular use with the 1967 penny, which gives this coin historical weight as the final bearer of a centuries-old artistic tradition. On the obverse, the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick, captures the young monarch with laureate crown, serene and graceful. This portrait was used during the early part of the Queen's reign and is cherished for its classical style and elegant simplicity. Together, these elements create a coin that is as aesthetically captivating as it is historically important. Collectors are drawn to the 1967 UK 1 penny for several reasons beyond its beauty and historical significance. It offers a tangible connection to a bygone era, a time when British coinage still operated under the old pound SD pounds, shillings pence system that had been in place for centuries. The 1967 penny was never officially replaced until 1971. Making it one of the last large-format bronze pennies ever minted for what could be considered traditional British currency. This historical boundary makes the coin especially attractive to those assembling collections centered on transitional periods or end-of-era pieces. Collectors often place a premium on final-year designs, knowing that such coins are symbolic of closure and change, and the 1967 penny holds that symbolism with remarkable clarity in terms of investment potential. The 1967 UK 1 penny is a coin that has steadily gained attention. While lower-grade coins remain accessible and common, Those few that were perfectly preserved, whether intentionally saved in mint rolls or as part of collector sets, have become increasingly scarce. These coins, when graded by leading numismatic services and achieving mint state ratings, especially those graded MS65 or higher, can reach valuations around $2,200 or more. The upward trend in value is also driven by the broader market interest in mid-20th century British coinage, where demand continues to grow not only within the UK but globally, especially in former Commonwealth nations and among collectors of the British Empire era. The historical appeal, coupled with a tangible supply shortage in top-tier grades, means that the 1967 penny's value is more than justified by current market conditions. Adding another layer to the coin's story is the Royal Mint's production strategy during the 1960s. The decision to continue minting large pennies in 1967 was influenced by the need to supplement circulating coinage and to fulfill demands for ceremonial purposes, including educational uses, bank training, and coin sets used for overseas British administrative territories. This nuance, though not widely known outside collector circles, enriches the numismatic story of the coin. It wasn't just created for spending, it served multiple roles within British society. That multifaceted use adds to its collectible appeal. Each uncirculated 1967 penny is, in effect, a preserved piece of that layered Historia coin that might have been intended for display, education, or storage, but now finds new life in the collections of numismatic enthusiasts. From a design perspective, the coin also represents the peak of classical British copper coin aesthetics. The proportions, font, relief work, and spacing all reflect a mature and refined design language that had evolved over decades. The visual balance between Queen Elizabeth II's profile and Britannia's seated strength creates a harmony that has rarely been replicated in later coinage. This attention to detail is another reason why the 1967 penny remains a collector favorite. It's not just the last of its kind. A final note of elegance before decimalization ushered in a new, more modern aesthetic for British coins. The coin's appeal also lies in its nostalgic and cultural connections. For many in the UK and around the world, the 1967 penny brings memories of a different time before sweeping economic reforms and global shifts. Its large, heavy format feels weighty and substantial in the hand, stark contrast to the smaller, lighter coins that would follow. This physicality is part of its charm, and many collectors appreciate the sensory experience of holding a piece of bronze history. It's a coin that feels important hand in many ways. It stands as a symbol of endurance, stability, and British identity, captured at a moment just before profound change. Whether approached as a collectible, an investment, or a historical artifact, the 1967 UK 1 penny continues to captivate. Its relatively low face value belies a deeper significance, one tied to design heritage, cultural memory, and monetary evolution. With values now reaching up to $2,200 for pristine examples, the coin has firmly cemented its place among the most notable pre-decimal British issues. For those fortunate enough to discover an uncirculated or mint state 1967 penny in their collection, it offers not just monetary value but a link to Britain's storied past, an enduring piece of history struck in the final glow of a long-standing tradition.